following is a history as recalled and documented by Gordon Zuvrink, veteran of World War II from the 126th Infantry Regiment, and in particular, Company D. I enlisted in Holland Company D, the 126th Infantry, 32nd Division, on October 27, 1939. During the previous month, the company did what proved to be their last 2-week training at Camp Grayling. In the summer of 1940, the Michigan National Guard did their customary 2-week training at Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. On October 15, 1940, the entire division was inducted into federal service. We lived and trained in the Holland Armory. 3 times a day, the whole company marched on the Warren Canley Hotel, located on 8th Street. For meals, we ate well. In the evening of October 25th, the unit was ordered to fall in with full pack to the right front and march down the Armory steps, heading to 8th Street and marching west to Pere Marquette Railroad Station. Thousands of spectators lined both sides of 8th Street as we marched by. Before loading on the train, the unit was at ease to say goodbye to their families and friends. Shortly thereafter, the troop train from Muskegon and Grand Haven arrived, hooking up with our cars, and left for Louisiana. We arrived the next day at Camp Beauregard, a rather primitive camp, while our new camp was being constructed. On February 27, 1941, we moved to Camp Livingston, almost like home compared to Beauregard. While at Camp Livingston, I received a pass to go home for a short visit. When I returned to camp, I drove my Model A touring car back to camp. Lee McCroy and Milton Fletcher were also on leave at the same time. When they left for camp, they drove Lee's motorcycle back. At least we had our fun toys with us. When we got an evening pass, we drove my car to town. So much fun. A couple times while at camp, Howard Locker would pick up my car and drive up and down through the camp area until Captain Kahn caught him and put a final stop to it. After December 7, 1941, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, all units were placed on high alert and most troops were dispersed along Louisiana and Texas seaports. I was the supply sergeant, so I stayed in camp, as did the office and kitchen personnel. Leroy McCroy was part of the kitchen personnel, and while the troops were away, he parked his bike under the mess hall, and one day he moved it up into the kitchen. As luck would have it, Captain Mike Hahn decided to pay a visit to the kitchen. When he saw the motorcycle, he blew his stack. To quote him, "First it's under the mess hall, and now it's in the mess hall. Get that damn thing out of here." Shortly thereafter, the entire 32nd Division was shipped by troop train to Fort Davis, Massachusetts, supposedly to be shipped to the European Theater of Operations under General Eisenhower. While there, General MacArthur made an urgent request to the Pentagon for some more troops to start an offensive in the Southwest Pacific against the Japanese. We were closing in on Australia through New Guinea. The 32nd Division would be his army. On the 6th of April, we boarded a troop train for San Francisco to be stationed temporarily at Lecale Palace. Moving several thousand troops over 3,000 miles cross-country proved to be a major accomplishment. They all had to be fed several times each day. At mealtimes, we arrived at the next station, exited our cars, filed through a chow line which was put on by the townsfolk. The food was very good. How this was arranged on such short notice was amazing. This trip was not without incident. As it was discovered, Private Marsh decided to climb on top of the train while it was en route and fell off. The big surprise came when he was waiting for our train at one of the next stations. He'd gotten a ride on one of the passing trains heading the same direction. He'd passed us and gotten off at the next station. The 32nd Division was now down to 3 regiments when the 125th Infantry had been shipped out to California at an earlier date. On the 22nd of April, the 126th Infantry boarded the SS Lorraine, which had been converted to a troop ship along with 2 other ships. As we left the harbor, we joined a convoy of 8 ships bound for the Southwest Pacific, the largest convoy attempted thus far. Our ship was to be the flagship of the convoy. As we passed under the Golden Gate Bridge, I tossed a penny into the water. I'd heard this was a good luck gesture, to ensure my safe return. It worked. All ships ran a zigzag course all the way to the coast of Australia. It had been reported that Japanese submarines were frequenting that part of the Southwest Pacific. Thursday, the 7th of May, turned out to be Friday the 8th as we passed the international date line. On that day, my ship's wireless picked up a message that the SS Lorraine had been sunk by a Jap sub. We also picked up a message from Tokyo Rose, who spreads propaganda for the Japanese government. The message was played over the PA system. It encouraged soldiers to give up, and that they would be slaughtered by Tojo's Imperial Army. At 2 p.m. on Thursday, the 14th of May, we docked at Port Elrond. After 23 days on board, we disembarked, boarded a troop train, and headed for Camp Sandy Creek, near the village of Galmer,